Hello, everybody. We're Hide and Speak. We stream every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Our topics are privacy, free speech, and internet freedom. We're the crew behind vp.net. What you can expect quality or questions and answers. You go ahead and ask us a question with the capital Q and then a colon, and then ask your question right after that. So what not to expect from us is no religion, no partisan politics, left, right. It's all the same to us. So the opinions expressed by members of our panel are of their own personal opinions and do not necessarily reflect the views of Hide and Speak or vp.net. So I just want to say hello, everybody. I'm Shane. I'm the COO at vp.net, and here's Chris.
Hey, everybody. Chris Miller. I'm the CMO for vp.net. Really excited to speak with Christopher today, and thanks all for being here.
Glad you're here, Chris. This is Nathan. Say hello, Nathan.
Yeah, so I'm Nathan. I work in the design and marketing department at vp.net, and I'm super thrilled to be here today with our special guest and happy to talk about very important topics and internet privacy.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. And this is Susie as well. Hello, Susie. Microphone's not working there, Susie.
It was me this time. No, excited to be here. I love privacy. I love talking about it. I'm excited to see what other Chris has to say, and everybody here.
Well, welcome to it. Welcome to it, and happy you're here. No worries on the microphone being muted. I think every stream is Murphy's Law in action. But today, welcome everybody. We're very excited to have a special guest with us, Christopher Cialone. He's a cypherpunk, coder, and privacy enthusiast behind a couple projects we're really excited to learn about today. Christopher, welcome to Hide and Speak.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is like a very great honor. I'm sure I'm speaking for 99% of the people watching, maybe not the 1% of haters that make sure they're knowing what we're up to, but this is like an honor to be up here with everybody. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. And that's the thing is, like, we want to keep it like real chill, real laid back here. So if anybody else wants to join us on stream, if anybody has any perspectives in which they wish to offer, or, you know, the thing is we know we're right on most things. We want to be wrong. But if we are wrong, come on and get us right. And that's the thing is you know, we live this life, the cypherpunk manifesto, you know, the privacy movement, the advanced tools and stuff that cryptography things offer us. It's all really hard to learn. It's all really, unless you're really working on that stuff every day, the technology behind things moves so fast that unless you understand the underlying technology that's behind all of it, it's even hard for, like, you know, professionals to keep up. So that's the thing is just we're moving into a world with AI. You know, people they deserve a lot better in the terms of what's out there and what they can be a part of and what it is that they can do with these tools and these technologies that are out there. So I just want to say welcome. Thank you there for joining us, Christopher. I have a little interview for you today. Could you have a project, and I checked it out. It was really amazing. You know, it fits the philosophy that I have with empowering others, and that's, you know, giving them the ability to learn. You know, to learn is to teach oneself, right? So if we can give them the ability to learn and give them the ability to be a part of some really awesome and cool things, I think that's just what you're doing. So as soon as I saw that, and as soon as this landed on my desk, I was like, wow, this man is amazing. And not only is he just amazing, it's you know, you're actually putting your 2 feet forward with these things, right? You're hopping right into the mix, and you're allowing other people to hop into the mix as well. So we have a website, ShadowRanch.xyz. Everybody head over there and check it out. It gives you some wonderful quizzes and just, it's really awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about ShadowRanch there, Christopher?
Sure. I mean, ShadowRanch was kind of my answer to, like, how do we get started? How does somebody go from thinking, you know, crypto is something cool, and then there's like 50% of people get involved in crypto that want to build, and then so how do you do it? But more than how do you do it is why are we building? So I was really trying to focus on hammering the principles that got me here in the first place. the cypherpunk principles. So I incorporated that into ShadowRanch. So there's obviously the gaming. It's a gamified coding challenges. I'm teaching people the basics of Solana programming, and soon to come, I was going to jump into Ethereum next, but of course there's already crypto zombies, but there needs to be more than just building smart contracts. I feel like a lot of people moved into the industry from Web 2. They came here with a Web 2 type of mindset, and it's just like, how do we milk people out of money like as fast as possible? And that's the smart contracts kind of were saying that, like, all right, you have to pay for every single move you make, which is, hey, look, if you're moving money around, that's great, but with the whole NFT craze, just there was a lot of kind of shady things happening where it was just completely profit driven, and I wanted to see, like, what can I do to put a small stop to this, or at least grab some of the new developers that are coming into the industry and start trying to shape their mind the way mine was shaped. And it was the cypherpunk, manifesto is kind of what really guides just about everything I do with software.
Wonderful. And it's the thing for people at home and the viewers watching, Solana is it's a really awesome blockchain that offers smart contracts. So the ability to add code to the financial things that we do. It offers a lot more than these other technologies out there. And I like that you said, a lot of it is, how can we make as money as fast as we can off these people and these suckers and stuff. And I think we kind of seen that stuff with a lot of things in the past here. But the thing is these technologies are just really useful. They're really awesome to add to anything that somebody might be building. And it's amazing that there's people out there that are able to teach these things. When I looked into hey, what can I build? Like, I want to make some cool things with this, and just reading the white paper and reading the documentation and how all that stuff works, it's actually really hard to get into. So to learn these things is actually, it's a challenge in itself. But that's the thing is, we've seen it time and time again that these challenges, they do pay off, and I think that's a great thing that you're allowing people to challenge themselves in an already challenging field. But I agree with everything you say. Gamification isn't something you see in the most coding-based education platforms. What motivated you to integrate it into ShadowRanch, and how do you see it shaping the learning journey as far as adding games into these things?
So this kind of a hackathon. This was a completely different project when it started. So I was gonna build a game where users were going to literally be on a ranch and planting corn, just like a very basic game where users would learn the basics of business and finance through playing a very simple game, something similar. I can't even think of the what's in it. Remember that game?
Farmville.
So I said, okay, what if I just put like a little bit of a spin of crypto in here, but literally teaching people like how things actually work, rather than just gaining points for no reason, and you just, okay, let me feed my cow. The business reasoning behind everything, how the finance of running a farm would work. Obviously, this was far too complicated to pull off in a hackathon, so the idea kind of just got chopped down in my mind to the most basic learning that needs to take place in order to get involved in the field. And I said, all right, why don't I go after developers? Why don't I go after the people actually building or that want to build? And I just took the gamified approach and put it into the coding challenges. Oddly enough, and it seems like somebody's like living in your brain, the Solana Foundation and a very successful developer that was already building something, and it launched like 2 days after I started building mine, this thing called Blue Shift, which is a great coding solution. It's a great learning tool for coding, but that's all it was. Not that that's a small feat, but that's all it was. And it wasn't teaching people why. Like, why do we use crypto instead of the regular financial system? So I started focusing on that. And really, that's when this kind of got more fun, because I love programming. I love coding. I love all the avenues in life that it can open up. But more so, I love the idea of the cypherpunk principles and teaching people, because that's a different way to kind of live. You know, like, that's a different way to move about your life, really. So that became kind of like a personal journey. Once I started building this thing, was kind of turning as many people onto this idea that I possibly could. Yeah, and that's really what motivated the entire platform, was a completely different idea, which got stalled in development because it looked like it was going to take about 3.5 years to build that successfully. So that kind of just died in the water, that one idea. But it brought this one, so it was a better idea anyway.
Well, that's amazing to hear. And yeah, like the game Farm Bill, like, it's with programming, I look at everything as a component, right? Everything is a component of a component, and the components add up to something, and it makes something really awesome and special. But yeah, no, it makes so much sense the way you explained it, that you know, to run the business side of things and the accounting side of things and the real world use cases of these things. Because when you have things like decentralized applications, you know, it opens up just a field of opportunity, right? There's no limits to the horizon with it. And it's just, it's really cool. So when I start explaining crypto to people in real life, they turn their head sideways at me, and I might as well be speaking Chinese at that point.
Right.
So to be able to link them to these things and be like, hey, you know, just have fun with it. And the cypherpunk movement, it's one of those things that I'm still learning about, right? I come from the days of, you know, they didn't even have HTTPS, you know, on IRC and things. We didn't have SSL ports, or TLS ports rather. You know, it's your basic encryption was like your SSH, your secure shell, these types of things. And it was one of those things that, yeah, the dark ages, really. And it's one of those things that I knew everything was being sent over the wire in plain text. I knew that, you know, anybody that's sitting at a router level somewhere, they can just see everything and link it to somebody. It wasn't hard then, and I know it's not hard now with better tools. But that's the thing, is I started seeing the people move into cryptography and all these things, and it was foreign to me, because my mind doesn't work at that mathematical level. Like, you can probably ask me what's 240 plus 390 and stuff, and my brain can't immediately add that up. So I saw an entire movement move towards the cryptography scene, and that with that scene too, it's like there's pioneers in this space, like people that have been working on these things like since the 60s, 70s, 80s, like back when the computer was the size of a house. Like, these guys are already thinking about, you know, secure communications, and not just secure communications. They were thinking about things like hash cash, which ended up becoming like what, Bitcoin, to my knowledge. It's or based on it rather, right? And it makes it so that you can have systems communicate with each other securely, and then you don't have to trust that the data being sent between them is you know, you don't have to trust it. It's verified, right? And it's verified in the sense that these mathematics are so advanced when they create these encryption keys that, you know, it'd take billions, trillions of years just to crack these things. So it offers a layer of digital security that, you know, I always thought was something I would move into, and it kind of is like that. But you know, I wish we would have had these things sooner. You know, especially when the .com bubble happened. And I not only do I wish that we could have had these things sooner, when things like Bitcoin and all these other really cool coins and tokens, things like this, came around, like, I just even being as advanced as I am with technology, I just didn't quite understand it. And if it could have been turned into a game, and I could have learned this with other people, my friends, you know, just to see the importance of it. And I think the biggest thing when I explain or try to explain these things to people, is that it is important. And you can see it nowadays. Like, you have Cash App, or you have Cash App, and it has Bitcoin linked to it. You have Coinbase. You have these other great exchanges out there. And it's these things are worth investing in. They like, you can convert these things to real life cash. Like you just press a button on your phone. It's like trading in a stock, but it's like a stock with actual use cases behind it where, the technology can be used in, applications. So these applications that run our phones, our computers, wallets, banking, these are all just like the tip of the iceberg. We see it in video games where we have these rewards. And it's been really cool to see how it's evolved in a technological sense. But I think we're moving and heading in the right direction. I mean, there's been some bumps in the road, but to see it is just absolutely amazing. And what's your thoughts on this, Chris? Like checking out the website, I was actually like ecstatic, seeing this.
Which Chris?
Christopher.
Chris Miller, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I was telling the guys earlier, like how this came to be, having Christopher on. He just liked it and commented on a post of ours on X, and I went and looked at his profile, and I saw the link to ShadowRanch, and I clicked on it, and I was lost for like 20 minutes there. I was just like, this is so cool. I'm like, I love this. And then I think the very next day, at that point, I had talked to him about coming on the show, and he was into it. I was like, that's awesome. And then the next day, he posted about the Sub Rosa project. I'm like, what? This is so cool too. I was like, this guy is amazing. Like, I really love all the stuff that he's doing. I think it's a great idea to gamify coding because, my kids really got into learning how to code a few years ago, and they have some those little building block apps and stuff to try to make it. And they claim that it's fun and easy for kids and it's enjoyable. And like, it really wasn't. And then it got to the point like my sons are really, really intelligent. And my oldest son, he immediately like blew way past all of those sort of tools. So then it's like you go from that to like the grown-up tools where it's just like dump you in with a ton of information and it's really boring and it takes a ton of willpower and self-control to like force yourself to get through it. And eventually he fell off. Like, he was like 12 years old. You know what I mean? Like, what do you expect? But like something like this where it keeps it interesting and fun as you're working on it, like I could absolutely see him going crazy with that and taking it and running with it. And I think it's just such a good idea because, he's somebody with a great mind and he understands the need for privacy. And he's somebody that if he went in that course, went that direction in life, he would probably build some amazing tool that we could all use someday. But it's like when he tried to get into coding, it just bored him pretty quickly. And, that was the end of it for him. And he really doesn't show a whole lot of interest in it since then. So had this been around then and actually kept him interested and showed him not only just like, most of those coding tools, they're teaching you like super, super basic stuff. They're like, ooh, look, the ball bounces back and forth or something like that. Whereas like he's teaching Solana and the blockchain and contract stuff that like, that's the future of coding. So it's like when you're getting into coding today, he's smart enough to realize like the future is not a ball bouncing back and forth on the screen. You know what I mean? The future is things like Solana and smart contracts and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I think that's a really, really good approach. I'm just excited to hear more from you, and I'm really, really glad you're here today. Thank you. Come.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we're seeing these things come into the mainstream now. Like I don't understand EFTs, I don't understand securities, but I understand that the line goes up, and that makes your money go up, and that's I think that's all really other people need to understand as well. But there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of it takes a lot of discipline and respect for the what is it, the science that goes behind it. Like when you talk about elliptical curve and algorithms and mathematics, it's advanced. It's really advanced stuff. But these things, not only they're just becoming adopted, we saw like the NFT craze and stuff where I think all my childhood friends growing up and stuff, I could see them posting on social media. They're like, no, we got to get in on this NFT. And I'm like, it's so stupid. Like, this is silly. But like, people are, they're making money off these things. And it is about the craze. It is about the cool things that you can see that break you from this what do you call it? I like to call it the matrix, because the system is what they tell you the system is, and you have no choice but to obey the system, or you're not going to have a great time. But then when you involve things like crypto and cryptos is a short name for it. Every time I used to say crypto back in the day, everybody would correct me and say that it was called cryptography. And now we see crypto is the main word now. So haha, who was right? But that's the thing is, you do have to show these things the respect that they deserve and the love that they deserve. But I was just telling you before the show, Christopher, we were. I've been like project manager for quite a few projects in the past, and we were thinking about how can we implement a smart contract system to things, and the next day, like, we saw something called crypto kitties, and I just saw, like, there's back then there's like 18-year-olds now with Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff rolling down the road because of something as simple as crypto kitties, where I think it was, to my knowledge, or if I can remember correctly, it was like you just take care of it like a cat, like you take care of your digital kitty, and it increased value with these things. So to see these things where people can, it's how is this any different from creating an app on Android or iOS where it's like whatever app the app may be. These things are no different. They're people making awesome things and having fun with it nonetheless, and not just having fun with it, they're allowing other people to have fun with it too. We had these what was it back in the day, like the Neopets thing, the Tamagotchis, where you had to keep it alive, or like you had to shake it every once in a while, or else your pet would die. Yeah, I think I had a couple of them too. Then I would forget it in my backpack at school, and I would look like a week later, like, oh no, like, oops. But that's the thing is just these technologies are really inspiring. And Nathan, I know you're helping us with something a project that we're working on, as far as how to make things fair, and so that we can come to consensus with things and move forward on ideas. And I think this is this something that's been new? Is it something that's new to you? That's one question. Is this something that's new to you, Nathan? And with what's going on with it, how would you, offer to help other people to learn about how these systems work? Like, I know that you're coming into this and you have that fresh perspective that isn't bound by the limitations of somebody who's been stuck in the engineering mindset for this over the last 10, 15 years. So maybe, is there anything that you've seen that poses any challenges there, Nathan?
Well, I think pretty much everything poses a challenge these days, right? So, I mean, what is going on in the system currently that I agree with? I don't know if there's anything too much of it, basically.
And I think that's one of the limitations that I would have with the mindset of things, is that you're trying to create a perfect system, right? And how do you create a perfect system that works for everybody? And you come to the quick realization that there is no perfect system behind
exactly, because there is no perfect system, and from any perspective, and any certain person's perspective, they can define something that's perfect to them, right? So what works best for me might not work best for you, and I think the perspection factor there is the big idea. But what I really want to do here is ask a question to our guest Christopher. What inspired you to create these resources to help other people, like your projects, Sub Rosa and ShadowRanch? It doesn't seem like many of the projects you are building are for profit. They might be profitable in some small measure, but it doesn't seem like your goal is to have a huge margin and create a profit, but more for the future of humanity. And, what inspired you to do this?
Well, it's like what's right is right, kind of, So if you have a good idea, but you're not going to make money on it, and it could really help, and it could catch on, and it would make some sort of difference in a positive way for the world, and you don't build it, you're kind of like an asshole. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse, but
You can curse. It's all good.
Yeah, that's kind of like where it was. Like, I feel like these are really good ideas. Why wouldn't I build these out? And the universe kind of moves with you. So if you're going to move on something, a way is made, typically. And if it doesn't, you kind of make it. One way or another, it shakes out the way it's supposed to shake out for me and the effort that I put in. I feel like if I would have come across a game like this when years back, possibly I could have made the most amazing application ever, or maybe I could have made the best software that anybody's ever seen, because you just don't know how something's going to touch you. I got started with Bitcoin, and I heard about it in 2013, and I didn't start really moving into the business of crypto, messing around with the tokens and trying to make money with them, but nothing with any sort of like building on the networks or trying to build a company around that. I didn't do any of that until a few years ago. But if that would have caught me early, who knows? Maybe I could have been like a Roger Ver, right? You don't know who you're going to touch with what you make. So I figured, these are my best ideas. Why wouldn't I make them? The Sub Rosa project was inspired from all the developers getting locked up. The Samurai Wallet devs. I was going to say a completely different name. Oh God, Roman Storm. These guys are, in the Southern District too. I'm here. I'm in New York. So that means if I write a certain bit of code, you guys are going to throw me in jail. So it's almost like, well, kind of like I dare you then. Like if I want to make something like that, and like, well, I dare you, because I want to put that to light. Because if you're going to put people in jail for building things that are going to help people, like I did, that's insane. I dare you. And I really admire those guys, because that's, when we look at it now, it's like, oh yeah, that's a mixer, or like I remember dark wallets, and it was like just like a mixing pools, and it was like these ideas were insane back then. Nobody, it's like the thought process that came up with it, because you had to have a grasp of the entirety of the discipline of this particular programming. These guys were like, that's incredible. Now everything is very abstracted away. You could know a very little bit and now build on top of things. And that's why I wanted to really get people thinking in the right direction with the ShadowRanch, was inspire people to build for the correct reasons. And then the Sub Rosa project is basically like an anonymous GitHub. I'm building out like an anonymous GitHub. So people like, who built it? Well, who knows? And that's the goal with that. That's still in development. That's also not a small project, but that's the idea behind it. And hopefully other people join me when they hear about it. Like, yeah, could I use help? Of course. Like, you don't want, AI can help for sure, but you have to check every line of code this thing is writing, and you still have to have a really great handle on what you're doing. Anybody can vibe code, absolutely. If you tell the computer what to do, it'll do it for you. But that's all it's going to do, and it's going to do it in whatever manner it sees fit. Yeah, I think these things need to be built out, and even if I didn't build them out, somebody would need to build these things out, because we need them. We need programs like this. We need platforms like this. So that's,
I absolutely agree. We do need platforms like this. That is for certain. We absolutely do need platforms like this, and I 100% agree. If you have the ability to create something and you think it's going to be great for the world, why wouldn't you create it? And that's the big thing too. Is I've seen perspectives. I've even had this perspective before, with creating some things that could be abused, right? And then you're on the hook for it being abused. And I think with a lot of that said too, is when you create something with the greatest intentions, it might not always work out well. We've seen a lot of these people get banned over the last 15 years with these type of technologies existing. A lot of fraud, but a lot of good people out there as well that just don't deserve the heat that they got, or they absolutely didn't deserve the negative aspect being pushed towards them when their heart was in the right place and they were creating these things just to see what would happen, just to make these things, because not only are they cool and useful, but it's something that they believe in. And when you actually believe in these things and you live that life, you can't do anything other than that, right? It's what we do, and you can't just look away from these things. And I agree with 100% with everything you said too. And that's the thing is, why wouldn't we create these things? And that goes along with that saying, for true evil to prevail in the world, that's for good people to stand by and do nothing. And I'm sorry, but when you look at Wall Street and when you look at these, public companies that are out there, like what's behind Palantir there, and what's behind these other companies that make bombs and blow people up, and then you're like arresting the people because they made something and then it got abused in some certain way. And I 100% agree. Anybody can vibe code, but when you use these things, like with AI, it's not going to have that expertise or that experience that you have with building a community or with building the technology, and in which it doesn't have any learning lessons built into it. It just knows what to do because you asked it what to do. But when you were look at things like Ethereum, and Ethereum forked off between Ethereum Classic and to Ethereum today, and it split the community in whole. And that was because there was a bug that allowed some attacker to come in and steal, I think was like 340 million, or probably way more money than that. And and then they fixed that bug, and then they were able to patch that, and then it created the new Ethereum. And then other people didn't agree with that. They said, that happened, so you have to leave it at that. That's what happened. So we see a lot of diversity, but we also see a lot of conflicting opinions, and we see a lot of, there's always more to things. But at the same time, too, in the grand scheme of stuff, like it's expected that it's going to be like this. It's not going to be perfect. This is some, if you were to teach or mention this stuff to me when I was younger, I'd be like, that's alien technology that was given to us by aliens. Look how crazy and advanced that is. But now today, it's becoming more normal. I think that's a great thing. I'd like to move on to the Sub Rosa project, and if you could explain this to me in about maybe 1 or 2 sentences for people hearing about it for the first time. How would you describe the Sub Rosa project in a sentence or two, Christopher?
Decentralized, distributed, anonymous alternative to GitHub. On chain. So that's the vision for that. Yeah,
it's an excellent idea.
That's the thing, is like Git is still rocket science to me, and that's I've been using Git for 10-15 years. So with a decentralized GitHub, that's amazing. That's somewhere where you can put your projects and share your open source code. And that's with these technologies out, you have to have an open source, right? They need to go through security audits. Here's the thing, is like Susie's seen me probably for the last 2 years just tinkering, and I jump from one project to the next, and I'm just tinkering, and I have to know how things work. I just need to see it in action. I need to experience and do it myself. And she'll sit there and look at it, and I try to explain things to her, and she's like, wait, this isn't the last project you did? This isn't what you were working on before? And I was like, no, this is something new. Project. It just popped into my brain, and so I'm doing it. I'm making it happen. And it's always in regards to privacy. It's always in regards to anonymity, and it's always in regards to new systems that are outside of the norm, like things like, why would you want to sign up with an email? Why would you want to sign up with your phone number, for privacy-based things? That defeats the entire purpose. So to tinker with these things so I can get a better grasp on it is really why I like to tinker with this stuff. The tech stack's always changed. Now that I have vibe coding on my side, I feel like I'm Superman with these things. And I'm learning a lot, like, oh, this existed? I was trying to recreate the wheel the entire time. So it's going to be an ongoing journey, probably until the time I hit my gravesite. Susie, what do you think about, you've seen a lot of things come from the open source communities and the open source projects. What do you think about a decentralized, the best way I would describe it is a secure version of GitHub, where your code is there, and once your code is there, there's no funny business in the middle.
That's the best way to be. Frankly, I regret, I had a GitHub way back, probably like 10 years now, maybe. Deleted it. I regret that. But let's say if I had something where I had an anonymous place to put it, and maybe I would have left it there, and I probably would have built it up bigger. And it probably would have kept me in tech further. But, all this kind of culture that has been brewing, I guess you could say, for controlling that. And I feel like the tech community has lost sight of the point of all of this, and you kind of bring it back to that point, because you have places like Discord that are centralized, where everything goes in one place, and it's all, it's just not safe to me. When you decentralize things, you make it safer in the sense where somebody can't really go and sit there and control it. It makes it into its own living, breathing beast, and it evolves over time, which is probably what you're experiencing now with this. And it's a great thing. Let it evolve. It may not always do the things that please us, but we need to accept that it will do the things that it does, and we must veer it to do a positive and ethical sense of doing this, because I think you've seen what could happen on GitHub when it's the opposite.
Yeah, and that's the thing is with the open source communities, it's there's a lot of controversy that goes into the communities behind them, and a lot of who owns the code, who's on this project, and they got kicked off the project. But the way I see it is like if it's your keys and you have this attached to it, it's yours, right? It's your keys. It's something that the people can own. And I'm not going to fully understand the Sub Rosa project completely here, but coming from GitHub and these things. You can see you can get the gist of where things are as a coder, as a developer, and it has its own not just ecosystem to it, but it has its own stigma to things as well. Like when I was hiring developers before, I don't look at things when to see how many lines of code they pushed to determine if somebody's a great developer or not. As far as I'm concerned, you can write 500 lines of code to do something that does 5 lines of code, right? So to see new platforms come out from the cypherpunk experience and taking things from the way they are versus how they should be, I think is a great thing, especially when it comes to open source development and people sharing their code. And here's the thing is like when I'm on my Linux systems and I install software, like how do I really know where that software or is coming from? It says it's verifying these things, but these things aren't as advanced as they should or could be, and there could be some funny business in the middle. But that's just my take on it. Christopher, could you tell me what's the tech stack behind Sub Rosa, and why did you choose it?
So right now, just really quick before I get into that, I do want to point out that there is a platform called Radical, which is something similar to what I'm referring to with Sub Rosa. There's in my opinion, there's a couple of holes, in the user experience. It's more difficult to collaborate, but it is a decentralized version of GitHub that you could run through your CLI. It's a command line, but it's housed on GitHub, so it's kind of confusing. But I just wanted to kind of point that out just in case anybody was interested in checking that out. So
That's
for
so
storage.
cool.
Yeah, so I was just really wanted to enhance on what they were doing and kind of fill in the gaps of what in my opinion is kind of missing there. But I agree with their mission 100%. I talked to those guys a couple of weeks ago. So storage, I'm using IPFS. It's a distributed storage. This is kind of commonplace. There's a lot of NFTs there. It just seems like the best place for the repos to live. I'm using Solana because it's the cheapest to move per transaction. You're able to move the most information per transaction. And things are kind of up in the air right now. I wanted to use like VPN or Tor routing. I'm not 100% sure on which way to go. This project's still in development. It's just not even an MVP stage yet. And really the point of me even bringing up the project was to get people's input and whether or not there would be other people also willing to help build out an idea such as this. Because this is in no way right around the corner to being released. Using ZK proofs, so like protocol, I was going to use them. This is all assuming everything is on Solana, so it's still, things are kind of up in the air with everything. most of the code would be written in Rust because it would be Solana programs. Yeah, but this is kind of right now more an ideation than anything else. There's a shell built out, but as far as developers being able to push anything just yet, that would be way too expensive at this point, unless they were willing to pay, a decent amount of money just to push their code there.
And that's wonderful to hear. It's working with IPFS in the past for other viewers out there, and it's the interplanetary file system, and that's where you can have data and files out there on the internet, and it's not just hosted by say Microsoft. It's not just hosted by say one website. And absolutely, I can see why things are up in the air, because to get these technologies right, and you're going to face a lot of hurdles that a lot of people just, won't have the mindset that you see for these things to foresee the issues that may happen. When IPFS came out, we're like, this is amazing tech. We're working with Orbit DB, a decentralized database. But it came down to, how do you police content? How do you make sure the bad stuff stays off of these networks so that there's no negative stigma? And then when it comes to hosting these things, you have to have people on board that host these things with the IPFS systems themselves. And then you kind of have to, in my opinion, from what I thought was the only thing that we can do is host our own IPFS nodes everywhere globally. And then, other people can, attach to that. But if they don't, then, you're stuck with, storing all the data yourself. And then, if you're storing this data, how do you, how do you only have the things that you want on these systems? So I've run into these issues before, and I try to create solutions to problems that didn't quite exist yet. And I want to say that I was fair in a lot of them, but then when these problems came about existing, I had that, I told you this would happen, but it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy on my end. And it wasn't anything as cool as, making, these alternatives to how people upload and manage their code. I'm just saying I have a lot of respect for, you as a developer and you as a creator to envision these things. This is the future of technology. We're seeing, GitHub is in its own, it's its own, I would say, burn pile at this point. Microsoft is just
they're training off of our data.
Yeah,
off your code repo.
And that's the biggest issue that I have with that too, is that they can train their AI system based on everybody's code and development, and give nothing back to the people, and then then try to force feed that Copilot stuff into everything that Microsoft has. Like they don't make money off of Windows, right? They make money off of their Office suites and their development tools, things like this. And I just don't agree with it. It's absolutely insane that they don't factor in things like communities or the people who got together and it's like, hey, let's come up with this and let's do it like this. And their real world problem solving, they just steal it all for themselves so that they can have one, intern somewhere come up with the world's next, $1 billion system. It's been a crazy ride to see what Microsoft has done with GitHub. And what's sad is I'm seeing things like with plagiarism, with people scanning books and Anthropic and all these lawsuits that are coming out now, as far as stealing people's intellectual property. And not just stealing their intellectual property, utilizing their intellectual property to create other things. So it's a big thing going on right now is with AI, and there's a lot of for it and against it. And at the end of the day, it's about the right thing, and doing the right thing is it's not even questionable, right? I think somebody at Microsoft should have been like, hey, we probably shouldn't do that with all these people's code. Like, this is people that really put their passions into these things, and we're just going to steal it and just take it because we're Microsoft and we can. And that's just GitHub, right? We're looking at other platforms out there. There's other solutions out there that don't solve a lot of issues and just put mainly the biggest issues that are out there on themselves. And that's the problem with things like self-hosting. You know, how many times can I look back and, you know, this we need access to something, but this person went missing in action. Nobody's seen them for 2 or 3 weeks, so now we can't log into the Git and get to the code that we need that we own. Things like this. So I've let me just say, when I was talking about Murphy's Law earlier, when it comes to things, you know, when it comes to Murphy's Law, and that's what can go wrong will go wrong. I think I've kind of seen that everywhere as far as the tech system. And at the helm of all of it, I would say, is Git. So with that said, like, what are some hurdles that you're really trying to overcome there, Christopher?
That's a long list. That's a loaded question.
Right.
In terms of this particular project, so finding a way to, because what I wanted to do was incorporate vp.net into this, kind of obfuscating traffic in some way. I guess kind of like the outbound uploads coming in and using like vp.net as a proxy. So that's kind of something that was kind of like escaping my ability at times. It could be my concentration, but yeah, like being able to kind of architect that out is one way. Maybe somebody there could kind of help me out with that. I could shoot something over to you guys, and maybe you would have a better idea. But that's one area. And everything comes down to cost. You know, like between putting things on IPFS and seeing if it's actually feasible, not programmatically. Like, is this feasible to even stand on its own if it wasn't a for-profit? You know, like strictly for money. So it's really breaking that down on a solo level, all these different things. You know, I do a lot of freelance stuff, but this is like a different animal. Taking these things on is like a different animal than, you know, build a business website with, you know, or an office suite for I don't know, some company down the block. It's a little bit different because I have to come up with the solution, you know, and architecting everything out. I'd love to use, like, realistically, I would like to use, oh my God, Xano. Xano's too expensive. Like, it would be too expensive to use and build that on their chain. So, and my expertise is more in Solana. I have a lot of experience building there. But then privacy is a little bit of an issue there. So, but there's workarounds. Obviously, there's they've come a little bit far away. The Light Protocol, there's a couple others that would make this possible. But that's the biggest problem, is kind of architecting how I would put in the outbound traffic and incorporating the VPN for full anonymity of the user.
And I think that's something that we can agree on. You know, you know, Mark and the team behind VP, they absolutely can help you with and he's our crypto guy as well. So to learn of these things back in the day when we were doing private internet access with Mr. Miller and I, you know, when we think about privacy and anonymity, you just you know, in the solution that you can have, what's out there, your options are Tor, which absolutely, you know, anybody running a rogue exit node can just pull as much data and information off of that as possible. So you can't have, and that's one of the things where we can't have any perfect system, right? Well, you can, and there are ways and methods, and we're seeing new technology come out there with enclaves and trusted execution environments where code can run and it's completely separate from the person that's, you know, owns the computer. These things, like, owns the router, that owns the transit networks. So when it comes to, you mentioned ZK, which is zero knowledge proofs. You know, when we see these things, and it's a big topic of what we've been talking about lately, is the digital IDs and uploading the information, like even uploading your ID to a system. You know, how do you know somebody else that isn't the company isn't looking on that and training their AIs or just stealing it for, with bad intentions.
They
So,
are.
and they are is the
Right.
thing. It's not just a thing that you're solving with you're looking at problems and solving issues that 99.99% of people don't even think about. And it's not wrong that they don't think about these things. They don't know to think about these things. But then that 0.1% of people, or 0.01% of people that do know to look at these things and exploit these things, or use these things that can completely shut down your project or your company, or even your organization, all your other organizations that are connected to this ecosystem. That's they have this level of access and threat. They're a threat model that can be absolutely disastrous to not just the ecosystem itself and the organizations, but all of the people and the things that rely on these things that have been created. And so when creating vp.net, we had this idea that we can have actual private internet. And that's the goal, is to have a totally encrypted layer between us and the rest of the world. And when you look at these other VPN companies like Proton and Nord, like it's in a whole new realm of what is right and what is wrong. And here's the thing: is any systems administrator that has access to the servers can look at the data in the transit, and they do, and they admit to doing it. And they admit to doing it for, copyright reasons, whatever the reasons are, they can do it. And for fun, how do we know some sysadmin
They abuse it.
Protecting the kids.
Protecting
Bullshit.
the kids, quote unquote. So the future
Right.
is the future is zero trust architecture. Like it's taking any trust out of the equation, because I live in this world, I'm looking around, I don't trust shit. I don't trust anybody, and I don't trust anything. Right. And that's not a life. It's not a life to live, but it's one of those things that, it'll give you your own perspectives and philosophies on things when you can't trust that something bad won't come destroy something good. And I think that's a big part of internet security and information security. And so with vp.net, to be able to have that layer between a project as cool as yours and any project in the future, I think it's one of those things that takes a lot of consideration outside of our realm, right? Because with vp.net, it's one of those things that you don't have to trust us, right? Like I can sit here and preach the skies to you all day, but it doesn't matter, because the technology speaks for itself, right? It's the layers there where you don't have to trust anybody, you don't have to trust anything. And the whole point is to get data from point A to point B without no funny business in the middle. And I think that's a lot of what crypto has to offer us as well, is that these systems and these data transits can happen at scale even, and be completely secure, and you can verify that yourself. And that's the whole verifiable privacy aspect to it. Is we have 10 years in the game running VPN companies, right? Or VPN rather. And a lot of our projects we were looking at how can we incorporate the VPN into it, and to have that secure layer. It's just, people would come up to arguments. Well, how do we trust you on this? Well, how can I trust this if I can't trust that then? And that's the thing. It's like, we live in a world where trust it's a word, right? You can only have good people around you and good people that, you're comfortable with. But then the rest of the people, you kind of have to keep an eye on the back of your head type stuff. It's the risk outweighs any good that can happen from it. So with that said, with the data outbound and the data inbound, I do think the world should benefit from these things. When I look at privacy, and when Chris here looks at privacy, we'll get your opinion there in a second, Chris. It's not just about uploading your ID. It's not just about, hey man, the man can look in on my stuff, dude. It's not just about these things. There's actual legitimate use cases to where, like I said, where these things, these platforms and these technologies that you, Christopher, are creating, when they grow, they have a lot of influence to mess up everybody else's stuff if it's not done right. I think you can agree with that. Chris, what's your take on the privacy layer as far as Sub Rosa and things like ShadowRanch.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea, especially for I was mentioning some of the developers who find themselves in prison for trying to make the world a better place. So to have a place where that you can put your code and be completely anonymous, especially when you're working on like an open source project, to give people that confidence that they can actually submit to this project and work with you and not be at risk to find themselves with the police at their door. I think that's a really awesome idea, and I think that'll go a long way for getting people to be involved in projects that might be riskier as far that are better for the world but riskier from a legal standpoint, because for example in the UK, if they're able to implement the scanning, local scanning, even before the encryption, obviously somebody's going to work on something to get around it. Like, you have to, like, you know what I mean? That's not okay for humanity. But if you're in the UK and you're working on a project like that, obviously you're at major risk. So I think a lot of developers are going to be afraid to take the leap and to work on these projects that are super important for mankind. But knowing that there's a place they can do that and actually stay anonymous, I think that's going to get more people willing to join the fight.
And that's the thing, is having more people willing to join the fight is a good thing. We invited some people on the stream today, and one of them said, they live in a country, well, I mean, we just mentioned the UK, where they come on here and expressing their voice and opinion on things can get you thrown in the clink. And that's the thing, is like, when you go on there to express these topics and talk about these things, and the fear of being thrown in jail because you want to create something or talk about other people creating cool things, that it raises its own levels of concern. And those levels of concern are, they're vast and abroad. But I'd like to invite anybody out there that has any perspectives or any opinions on these types of things. If you have any opinions on these places that want to throw people in the clink, or reasons why technology shouldn't exist, I'd love to hear it. But we're going to go ahead and head over to a break, and then when we come back, we're going to have some open discussion for everybody, and we're going to have a little fun time with it. So stay tuned.
T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes.
Yeah. Every click, every move, yeah, they're watching the feed, showing ads for the things that you don't really need. They want all the data, they want your ID, but I've got some news that just won't work for me. So I encrypt the connection and cover my tracks. We get to the truth and we stick to the facts. We build a safe place where the speech is always free, where cypherpunks go to just hide and speak. Hide and speak, we stay in the shadows and make some noise. Hide and speak, digital freedom, yeah, that is our choice. Hide and speak, privacy doesn't mean not having a voice. Hide and speak, what you wanna share is only
T-minus 1 minute.
Look, the world is exposed, yeah, the walls are thin. Everybody posting every place that they've been. Trading privacy for likes, that's a heavy cost. In the ocean of data, the person gets lost. So we flip the switch, yeah, we go underground. Moving through the silence without making a sound. Not hiding because you are doing something wrong. Just defending your rights before they are gone. The room is secure, so let the session start. Speak from the brain or speak from the heart. Tell us your story, we unlock the doors. We invite the guests, and yeah, the
30
floor is
seconds.
yours. You can keep mask on, keep it low key. Privacy is priceless, but opinions are free. We amplify the voices that they try to call weak. Welcome to the stream, time to hide and speak. Hide and speak, we stay in the shadows and make some noise. Hide and speak, digital freedom, yeah, it's our choice.
10, 9,
Hide and speak, privacy doesn't mean
7,
having a voice.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hide and speak.
Welcome back, everybody. And today we want to put privacy into focus. So normally we have a long list of topics that we want to cover just to get the awareness out there and raise everybody's awareness. But today we're just going to open it up for open discussion. Sit back, chill, have a discussion about some real world things. You know, when we talk about topics like, you know, somebody being, you know, afraid to voice their opinions and express themselves, even positively, and this is a real world thing. It's not just you know, isolated to one or a few people. This is real stuff happening like today. You just check out the news, any privacy related thing, any just news article as far as like the United Kingdom and what they're trying to do with like censoring 4chan. So it's not just that they're taking away people's voice. They've been slowly doing this globally for a long time now. When I look at that, it just makes me think, what the absolute shit? Like, this is crazy. It's maniacal even. And that's the sad thing, is that I want to be wrong on it, but the thing is, it do be like that. So Christopher, you know, we want to hear from the experts on this and stuff, especially since you're really trying to push the cypherpunk mission forward. The cypherpunk mission exists specifically because of, you know, what's happening right now in places like the United Kingdom. And I hate to say it, you know, here in the homeland of you know, freedom itself, you know, we're seeing states, and even at the federal level and stuff, they're you know, they're putting cameras in people's faces and putting people in databases so they can link you to social media posts. So it's beyond insane, right? Because it's insane if we allow this to happen, and it's insane that you know, we think that, you know, that's what has to be. So Christopher, what are your thoughts on what appears to be a concerted effort to criminalize the idea of privacy?
I mean, that's like this seems to be what any sort of authority is saying to the public. Well, if you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't have to worry then. We can basically look at anything you have to say, and you know, if you're not thinking anything wrong, or if you're not doing anything wrong, it shouldn't be a problem. And I feel like they're purposefully, I know they are, I don't feel like it, they're purposely making privacy seem like secrecy. See, they're like two different things. A secret, you don't want anybody to know, like on purpose, like you're cheating on your wife, that's a secret. That's not like privacy is you're going to the bathroom. You know, like, I'd rather you not see this. I'm going to the bathroom. And a secret implies that you're lying. And that's the stigma they continually keep putting on things. Even with this KYC seems to be like the most illegal thing that they've done, like outright illegal thing that the financial system, the institutions, the government, whoever's really behind it is doing is, well, we need to know your name, address, phone number, age, height, and date of birth for every single thing that you do. That way privacy is not even a question, because everything is tied to, you know, all your information is tied to these things. And it's all coming from the idea that if you want privacy, you're automatically doing something wrong. You have to be a criminal. And the people telling us that are like crooks. They're just outright crooks. These people do whatever they want. They're accountable to nobody. Like, who will watch the watchers? Nobody. Nobody's allowed to watch the watchers, but everybody's allowed to watch you. And it's really like scary. You know, personally, it's like scary. If you've ever read 1984, I'm sure everybody here has, and anybody listening most likely has. This is like Orwell. A boot in your face. You know, I'm in New York. This place is crazy. New York is not the New York I knew. This is, now they listen to whatever the authorities say. Oh, they said this is good. We got to do it. You're not allowed to do this. Even down to handing your ID to somebody for the bar. Why does the bouncer need to know where you live? here's my date of birth. Fine, I guess, if I got to get in. Why do you need to know what my address is? Like, what? There's so much information that we give away just because. We just give it away because they said. It's like, oh, that's what they said you got to do. So let's just keep going this way. You don't want to ruffle any feathers. And it all seems to spur from that idea that if you're trying to keep anything private, you have something to hide, rather than, well, it's my information. I would just rather not give that to you. And it's like, that's being taken away like everywhere. LinkedIn. I'm not allowed on LinkedIn for I don't know how long. To apply for certain jobs, I don't know if anybody's come into this, you need a LinkedIn profile. You need it. It's like one of the there's a necessary document that you must get, or it's a necessary bit of information, data that you need to give a prospective employer if you wish to be employed, because they need to see how you think. You're not allowed to have private thoughts, even on off days, even if you're not working. And it's just this is like everywhere. It's not in America. This is some sort of, all the authorities must have got together in there, you know how they do. They sit in their big boardroom. I'm sure it's not like that. It's just a convergence of goals. It's like, oh, okay, like, well, the less freedom and the less privacy we give people, the better for us. And outside of having lawyers and lobbyists, really, at the end of the day, because that's how you fight here, lawyers and lobbyists, to push back on this. I'm not really sure, outside of like, I don't know, like certain words aren't. See, I self-censor, because you don't want to say too much and give the wrong impression. Everything has to come with a, you know, what do you call it?
I think that's a great point right there.
A disclaimer.
Thank you. You need a disclaimer. Oh, I don't mean it this way, but we need to, you know, do this.
Because they're going to split your hairs otherwise.
There's really no way around it now. And I guess it's because so many people just went along, right? We just went along with whatever, for whatever reason they went along. And now this is what the common consensus is. This is where we're at now. Privacy is you're a criminal if you wish to have your own privacy. Now, even the Wi-Fi, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only person that knows the Wi-Fi and Amazon and any of these Bluetooth devices. It's like Batman. Out of the movie Batman, they can like see your heat sensor, your heat, your body,
your heat signatures,
your heat signature,
the patterns about you, the patterns about you through your Wi-Fi. Yeah,
unbelievable. Yeah, are you kidding me? I need to have tinfoil on my walls now, like, and you know that's not far off either. So yeah, that's what they've done, and I've tried to even get in touch with lawyers. A lot of people don't touch things, obviously, just for the right thing to do. But that seems to be like where the fight really is, and then you need to pay. Okay, well you got to pay the coin of the realm in order to get anything moved here. Okay, so you got to pay somebody off. It's like, well, how does this work like that? Like, this is really the way this works? Like, we're just openly gangsters. That's it. Whoever's stronger wins.
It's disgusting.
It's really crazy, right? I mean, I don't remember this. I'm 42 or 43. I don't even remember anymore. It was not always this way. I know it wasn't. And it's just progressively gotten worse. But yeah, I don't know, even crypto seems to be a part of it, because, oh, you're in crypto, and that's like, it had a connotation. Crypto was the most open thing in the world. You could see everything. There were a couple of,
oh, you're a money launderer.
Oh yeah, that's true too. You know, like, or Bitcoin, they were demonizing it for years. If you use this, you're a criminal. Criminals use it. Criminals use money too. You know, it's
only
like,
criminals.
So it's whatever is good for the most people is bad. And
criminals drink water. I mean, what are we doing here?
Wow.
It's really a joke. Oh, they charge us for water. Water is a whole nother thing. Why do we pay for water?
Hey, I'm old enough to remember when they started charging us $1 for a bottle of water.
Yep.
You used
In
to be
China,
able to
people
go into
pay for
any
air.
establishment and get some water.
Man, have a glass of water.
In China, people pay for air.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw that they pay for
I'm not kidding.
that feeling of fresh air. But I mean, it's China. You go outside and it's like literally smokestacks blowing in your face, and you know, it's here's the thing: is the KYC for people listening is it's called Know Your Customer, and it comes with a set of like, you know, to go back on this, who watches the watchers, and to answer that question is there is no answer to that question. All we can do is sit back and watch all the bullshit unfold before our very fucking eyes. And it's insane for us to be like, it's almost movie level, comical level, that they're like presenting this to you as if it's like this is the solution to things. And you're like, for people like us, it's like, get that shit out of my face, right? It's more than maniacal. And here's the thing: is like Susie and I just got a car, right? And one of the banks, they had to dig into every aspect of everything for proof on things. And really, we know it's not about proof. It's just more about getting as much data and information on somebody that they can just sell to the next guy. And that is the thing. And it is the criminalization of privacy. And here's what privacy means to me. I've asked this over the shows. What does privacy mean to all of you? And, you know, close your eyes and keep that within. That's yours. It's private. You know, I like to tinker. I like to code. I like to experiment with like testing things. And Susie watches me do this all day. It's part of my job, especially when it comes to like things like DevOps and finding bugs and finding the solutions to things. And I look at it from things like the customer angle, you know, not just having the knowledge that I have. Like, and that's the thing is like working with these things is I just want the privacy to, you know, do and tinker with the things that I want to do and tinker with the things that I want to tinker. And I want the world to fuck off. And it's straight up just like that. You know, these things that they're mine. And it's one thing that I want to do these things with the best intentions, but mostly just so I can learn, mostly just so I can have a good conversation like this moving forward in the future so that I'm knowledgeable and I'm not just talking out of my butt when it comes to, you know, having one of these higher level conversations. I'll say this: when I talk to my CTO, when I talk to even my CEO, if I had half the knowledge and experience that you know, these guys have, then maybe I would be able to keep up. But a lot of the topics, especially when it comes to encrypted systems and zero knowledge proofs and you know, zero trust architecture, it's just at a level in which I understand, and it takes me tinkering with these things, right? With TPMs and signing keys, and how do you have a verifiable identity? Well, how does somebody prove who they are? How does somebody show you who they are and what they're about? And that's the thing is like there could be a lot of answers to a lot of these questions, but there's no solid answer. But the know your customer stuff is the ideas behind this and the levels of enforcement that they push on these things. Like, look at it. They arrested the Tornado Cash person, which was a smart contract system in which you can move crypto around and then cash that out. Well, here's the thing: is like you don't need to put this person in prison because of this. Like, it all has to be cashed out into fiat cash anyways, right? I mean, that's the thing is there is no such thing as privacy in regards to the financial systems because it's already locked down. The powers that be type stuff, the Wall Street bankers, the head of the banking systems, they all made it like this. You can't operate within society without operating by their rules, right? And they want to control the rules. So with that said, it is a concerted effort to criminalize privacy. And we just seen this with that lobby group that was, I was like, why the hell are they banning porn? Like, you know, it's like the internet is porn, right? We all heard that song that the internet is for porn. It's really not, but, you know, it's arguable that it kind of is. I mean, it's kind of messed up that it's like that. But
it's always Rule 34.
With that said, it is Rule 34. And that sad thing is Rule 34 exists. It's crazy. But they lobbied starting in like Australia, and then you notice that like globally, all of the governments are pushing the upload your ID, upload your biometrics, and it's to quote unquote save the kids. So not only are they doing some bullshit, they're spewing some bullshit that it's to save kids. Like everybody wants to save like kids from bad things, right? That's like the most noble and honorable thing that you can do is like a parent and as a teacher and. You know, if you work in these jobs, like if you're going to protect anything, protect the kids so that they don't have to grow up into a world as bullshit as this is, right? And so I don't want this. I don't want I don't want what I'm saying to come from a place of apathy. I want it to come from a place of empathy. And the concerted effort to criminalize privacy is it's a word that doesn't exist yet. That's how I feel about it. Chris, Nathan, and Susie, I want to get your guys' take on this as well. Like, it's they can sell us water, they can sell us air, but that's the thing is, my job at the end of the day is, how do we sell privacy? And it's not just selling privacy, it's breaking you free from the illusion that you can't have privacy. And you can. That's the thing is you absolutely can. There absolutely is tools out there and systems and passions behind changing these things at the engineering level. Like this is what Christopher here does. He thinks about all day and he puts that stuff in action. And for me, coming from a place of privacy, I like to tinker and I like to put these things into action one day, right? Or have the experience to where things are being put into action. I can come in and offer my expertise because I have a knowledgeable foundation behind it. And they want to criminalize that. Isn't that freedom? Like, isn't that self-sovereignty? Isn't that the very things that we exist as American people to fight for? In New York, of all people, like the one thing I know two things in life. You don't piss off the people who have fuck you money, which is New York, and you also don't piss off New Yorkers, for obvious reasons. They'll mess your shit up. It's like they fight for things there. Like, I'm saying, if you want to see cars flipped over in the street, keep doing what you're doing. We're kind of seeing that now.
A big part of what we're trying to do here, anyways, it's just we're trying to raise awareness. It's not just about fighting for these things or putting money into, or we have the most resources or whatever. It's about just using our voices, letting other people know, raising awareness about the things that we talk about every week, right? So I think that is really the key, is that we enable other people to raise their voices and we use our voices.
And it's so true too. We see things like Flock and the deflock thing. I'm still waiting for that email to land in my inbox from the Flock CEO. I want to invite that person on the stream because I got to hear it from your angle when you're coming at me with this bullshit. I want to see it like directly from your eyes and come out of your mouth. What's this bullshit? And people ask you, what's the solution to this, Shane? Like, I don't have the solutions to everything, but we see it in Bend, Oregon. We see it in places that are happening now. And if they can lobby the entire global nations to ban porn and ban video games, and even at the credit card processing level, that means they're on some next level bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's like, and it's like they're using excuses that it's really more political than anything. It's to rally support, which this is like the opposite of cancel culture, right? It's the opposite of getting people banding together to destroy something. This is really just just straight up destroying any ability for things to grow and move forward. And Chris, Mr. Miller here, you live this every day. You see this on topic every day. You're the one that's putting this news out there, and you're the one that is just absolutely more into this than I've seen from anybody else in this world. What are your thoughts on them making a concerted effort to criminalize the idea of privacy?
Yeah, I mean, I've used this before, but I'm going to use it again because I think it really says it all. Arguing that you don't care about the right to privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different than saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's from Edward Snowden, and I always remember that. So, yep. And it's just thing, like people, they try real hard to make you believe that if you want privacy, then you're a criminal. Like only criminals need privacy, and it's not about that. Like Christopher was saying, it's really good. There's a difference between privacy and secrecy. For me, privacy is just about. It's not about hiding who you are. It's about sharing the parts of yourself that you want to share with the people you want to share when you want to share them. You know what I mean? It's your life, it's your personality, and like you should have control over that and control over what you show to people. You know what I mean? Nobody thinks it's weird that we want to put on clothes. We want to have control over which parts of our body we see. No one has a problem with that. But
what a great point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the exact same thing. It's privacy for your physical body. Well, I want privacy for my brain too. There's parts of my brain I don't necessarily want to share with everybody, and that's not illegal. It's not a crime. That's a natural thing. I saw this article once that said that there's a shockingly large percentage of the population that does not have an internal monologue inside their brain.
Yes, I was just saying
Is that true?
Yeah, and
It is.
the only reason I can understand why people are so against privacy is it's those guys, because they don't like the fact that we can have internal thoughts. So they're like, anything I think of, you hear
still
about.
don't
So
believe that.
Oh no.
that's the people. But you know what I
Are
mean?
they
Like,
all in my
absolutely.
head then? Do
You
they
don't
like
have
all
thoughts?
jump in my
Come
head? Because honestly, I have like 8 people going, hey, what about this? What about this? What about that?
that's
Right.
Yeah,
caffeine.
that's and in an engineering mind like Christopher's and like me and Chris's even, it's to have what I'm trying to say with this is that they want to know what we're thinking. They want to know things about us, like you mentioned, like LinkedIn, as a prerequisite to things. And yeah, it's like that. They're making these new social norms, but yeah, they want to know what people are thinking. They want to know what people are going to think in the future. They want that predictive analysis, right? Especially for the bullshit they're coming up with. But here's the thing too, is like when it comes to knowing your customer and how it's like involved in everyday life, think about advertisement companies. They need to know everything about you so they can push some more shit in your face, right? And that's the biggest thing too, is like when it comes to privacy, it is about how do I protect myself from all this crazy shit and nonsense going on. And here's the thing: is like it should have been blatantly obvious before Edward Snowden, and that was a great quote that he said. It should have been blatantly obvious that they can see all of the data, like they can just do this, right? Like if you have emails with Microsoft, all they have to do is just put in a request to get your emails, and Microsoft has to give them, And that's the thing is how do you protect yourself from like the actual bad people, not the ones that are trying to save America, but the ones that are like actually actively trying to destroy it or get power over people. So what's going on in our own minds is with these advertisement companies, they're blatantly pushing shit into our minds. Like there's that picture where what is it, one of the Olsen twins is holding 2 guns, and it's when you see advertisements for things that you only thought about, well, they didn't read your mind. They can't do that, right? They push that shit into your mind to where whatever it is made you talk about that, right? And that's the scariest part, is the psychology behind this it's more than just privacy. It's more about control. And that's the thing is the only options that we have to fight these things are lawyers, and lawyers only like care about the laws that they can win. There's really no privacy laws that exist out there, none that are like anything beneficial, and none that are like enforceable, or ones that even control like the underground of things. Like what are laws to the internet that exists and doesn't have any rules or laws to it? Some guy in Kuwait or Dubai or something, they can just hack my organization, or they can hack our customers for one of our projects or something, and there's no accountability for that stuff. There's no suing them, there's no getting justice from these things. And then when it comes to like offering solutions to these things to stop from that, I think that's the only path to move forward. Is cypherpunks write code. It's what they do, and it's what they live by. But that's the thing, is like when it comes to writing code, there's 13-year-olds that write code, and they're stealing people's credit card informations. They're stealing people's identities. Discord just got hacked, right? Not even a week after Discord started asking everybody for their IDs, like whoever it is, their third-party person, people that were dealing with that got hacked, and then so many people's identities got stolen, and they're going to be used for nefarious purposes, I promise you. And then where's the accountability? Discord goes, hey, well, it wasn't our company that got hacked, it was them. Yeah, cut it out with the bullshit. And that's business too. It's like, it's bad business is when you do business to remove yourself from liability and put that on the other person, and then when it or on the other company, and then when it's on them, they go, oh well, yeah, well, the technology behind it, so it's on this person. Yeah, cut it out with that bullshit. Like this bullshit doesn't need to exist if true privacy is there, and these actual solutions to these things aren't looked at with such a stigma. Nathan, what's your take on this?
Oh, yeah, I should probably unmute my mic here. Yeah, I think it's just, it's hard to say, what do we want to value as a society, and as a people, right? So what do we want to have be the focus for the future and for our children? And do we want to have things that are controlled by the government or by people who are elected by non, legitimate reasons to control these things? Or do we want to have the focus be on what you can control in your own personal life and give individuality to people, if I can get that word out right. And that's basically my point to it is, really, don't we want to have your own life controlled by yourself? And isn't that the point?
It truly is. Honestly,
At least having the option to, right?
Right.
Don't take that away from us.
yeah, no, honestly, to go off of what, I think you guys have all said already, that it's to protect the kids. And you know what, as a parent who's had to protect my kids for 20 years, I'm not I take offense at the fact that they use your kids to get these things passed and to put one
Exactly.
over on us. They're putting the wool over your eyes. Or is that the right saying? Whatever it is, it's disingenuous, and it's a dishonest fucking way of doing things, and it's what causes people to stop trusting. And this is why there's no trust.
And that's the saddest part about it.
Zero trust is so important. Go ahead. I got cut out.
Yeah, your microphone was cutting in.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay. No, go on. That's it.
And it's the removal of trust, and that's the thing is it's not acceptable, and the only option is to accept it. And it's the thing that's, I forgot who said this. What does society value? And that's the thing, is that's a really loaded question as well. I've seen good Christian people in church. They value the people coming together and making meals for each other and doing good in life. That's the basis of a lot of things. It's just do good in life, right? But society as a whole, and let's just be real about this, is it values money, right? It values what it can get to get that money, and that's for the biggest part of things. That's pretty much how it is. Like, my own mother is sending me messages about how all these companies are raising the prices on her after she was told one thing and now they're doing another. And that's another thing that I kind of want to talk about is there's subversion of with these things. Christopher, subversion of the crypto industry. It's things being marketed as decentralized and private. It's often centralized, trackable, and profit driven. What's your take on this? Like, with the coming from the cypherpunk aspect of it, with these decentralized solutions that are out there, most of them are just more people, more things feeding me bullshit, and I just kind of want to hear from you.
Yeah, it's kind of like sad, because I love this. This is the industry. This is the movement that I put most effort of my life toward, and 90% of it could have it just may have started out with the right idea, but this is like a completely bastardized version of how all of this started. Like, even going back to Bitcoin's peer-to-peer cash. No, not anymore. Now Bitcoin's digital gold. Everything starts out one way and then morphs slowly. Solana ecosystem is it good for crypto? You could even argue that. There's a lot of people in there. There's a lot of transactions. Almost everything that's happening on Solana is happening right out in the open in a very Web 2 way. they're using the Web 2 basically like co-opted Web 3, the whole idea of Web 3, the crypto industry, and just is riding the rails now. And this industry could change history in either way. It could either help humanity or it's going to put the lock on the box, and there's like no way to, the only way to get out is to not use technology anymore because you're completely locked in, you know, like you get completely boxed in at a certain point. I'll never say it's hopeless because it's far from hopeless right now, but you can even see with Palantir, because all of that's connected, even though they're different industries and everything, it's all moving in the same type of way. Solana is like a decentralized, centralized entity. And it almost goes and toward every big company in crypto. It's like you have to bend the knee. Coinbase, look at Coinbase. Coinbase is pretending that they're not centralized, that they're speaking upon the decentralized community. Who are you guys? You guys are a bank. I give you money. It doesn't clear for 6-7 days. What are you talking about? And it's just, it becomes insulting when you know better, and then it becomes infuriating when you realize what they're doing. Because it's not even about like, oh, verify, don't trust. We live in a post-truth world where the truth does not matter. Whatever you can get away with is what counts. And we live in like a very dishonest time. And I really feel like what we're doing, people that have the principles that we all share, can make a difference. But it's like chipping away in an iceberg because people do, it's not that they don't care. They don't even know they should care. They don't even have any idea that it's like, this step isn't going to kill us. The 14 we took to get here are the ones that are killing. We have to walk it back. Third-party doctrine was like a nail in the coffin that they used for, well, you have no expectation of privacy once you use these machines. You have no reasonable expectation of privacy. I mean, that's the way I read it because it's kind of the way it always comes back. And then anytime we go for privacy, they throw the guy in jail. It's really disheartening. And crypto has been, I've met some great people in here too, but I've met a lot of people who are fake or who just, oh, now I wear a Coinbase jacket, I'm part of this movement. You're more part of an institution than anybody, you know, because they're basically just another bank now. And that's the way much of this went. I see guys celebrating that the number is going up. Number go up is great. But if we have to give up our principles in order for, you know, for the thing to rise, you know, oh, okay, it went up today, but we have no more privacy. We have no more ethics. This has nothing to do with anything we're doing. And we're just going to replace, if Nike was big in the real world, now they'll be big in crypto. If Microsoft wants to get in on crypto, they'll be big. Look at Trump. Trump didn't even like crypto. He's like one of the biggest. World Liberty Financial is one of the top holders of everything. So then money could just buy the industry. And I thought it was a little different here. It is. Some of the people are, but we have a lot of imposters that have come into the industry and have thrown on a sheep and wolf's clothing or a wolf and sheep's clothing. Whatever.
And it do be like that is the thing is, you know, I just recently saw an article where Venezuela, I try to, you know, not be political at all with these things. Like it's whatever's going on. Like I have my own opinions on, but I kind of keep them to myself. It's, you know, Venezuela, they try to cash out their billions and billions of dollars in oil money into what it was Tether, right? USDT. And so the US, all they had to do was just make a call to the Tether people and be like, hey, freeze that money. And it's like, when you look at crypto, like, you know, freeze that money, like, wait a second, like, I get it. I understand, like, there's probably more things to this that I don't understand, like, why they would have to do that. But it's kind of fucked up that they can do that. You know, you know, they could just freeze anybody's money after a phone call from somebody. And yeah, the whole Donald Trump stuff, I'm sorry, but he didn't get shot in the ear. Like, whereas if you got shot in the ear, you'd have a hole in your ear, like, right? You wouldn't just wear a Band-Aid on it, your boo-boo goes away, like, you know, after a week. and then you make a Donald Trump coin, and you look at the technology behind that. They make money off of every transaction that happens, right? So people trading these things around, they're making money off of that, off of those transactions. And then they also have money because money's been invested into that NFT itself. And it's so they're making money when the line does go up, but they're also making money that's making that line go up, right? So it's one of those things that I understand. It's smart, right? It's smart to do that. You make a lot of money. And these people that spoke about crypto before, it's like, it's stupid, it's a fad. And then you see Bitcoin go to $120,000 per coin, and this is like, it's not fairy money. It's you can press a button and cash this out for fiat cash if you want, or you can trade it for other coins, in which if down the road you want to use them for whatever technology you want, you have the ability to do so, right? So this is real world stuff, and these are things that it's just really ironic and stuff when you see why these things were created and the whole purpose and the whole points to them, arguable or not, of what people think about them. The tech speaks for itself. It either does something or it doesn't do something. Yeah. And I think that's what people agree with. But when you can freeze assets on the chain, I think that, it makes sense. You have to protect the nation's money, that type of stuff. But, to see where everything is kind of changing into now, and then the worst part about it is they gaslight us and they say that they didn't say these things, or they say that they didn't have viewpoints on these things, when it's like you can go pull it up on YouTube and see it for yourself that this was their take on it. So they talk shit about these things, especially the cypherpunk movement. They talk shit about these things in regards to crypto, and then they go and just do it themselves, right? It's insane. It's maniacal when it comes to these things. So when it comes to like the subversion of these things, they tell you one thing and then they do another. So when you see like Tether and it being a decentralized system, and it's consensus based blockchain, but then it's that's what they market it to you as, right? You want to put if you want to cash out your Bitcoin or something, you want to trade it in for something that is tethered to the US dollar. That way, if your coin that you were cashing out goes down, you don't lose that value, right?
Right.
So they market these things to us as solutions to things, so that you can find some stability, so that you can find some consistency with your own financials, with your own tech stacks, with your own how you maneuver in life. However you go about it is on you, right? But they're marketing a certain way, but then it's another way. I didn't know that they could do that with Tether, and I thought I understood this technology greatly. And that's the thing, is like Solana, it offers looking into it. I can't speak off the top of my head because I learn these things and I forget them and I have to go relearn them. But when it comes to things like Ethereum and other coins and other technologies behind things, it really doesn't matter, because what really matters is what everybody's using and what everybody can use. And when you want to use something like Ethereum, it's backed by the digital gold now, which is what Bitcoin became. And before, Bitcoin was this big thing. People were preaching about it, and then there was naysayers about it. And the only issue with it when it first started to now is that there was no way. It was hard to convert that to cash, right? It's like, that's why people weren't into it, because they didn't know that monkey pushed button and then it converts to money, right? And so now that it's mainstream like that, now it's being adopted, right? Now those boomers, those 97-year-olds that are running our country, they now that they can push that button because their 12-year-old grandson taught them how to push a button, now it's becoming widely adopted. And not only that, but now they know that they can make money off of it. It's just it's one of those things that I've seen it from every angle, but it's more silly in the sense of the grand scheme of it than it being some kind of, I want to say, inspiration to things, right? Like the next generation of human beings, don't you want to be like, hey, this is all this great stuff that we came up with, and here's all the bullshit that kept that great stuff from coming to be. And that's the kind of the era we live in now. Like before the 90s, there was no internet. Like, you couldn't make these cool things. And if you did, you wrote a book about it and hoped that your book made sales. Now with the internet, we have total freedom and total control over what it is that we share with others, and that's what privacy is according to the Cyberpunk Manifesto. It's having the ability to share things with somebody you wish to share them with, when you decide that it's your time to share that with this person, and not just the world. If you want to share that with the world, that's cool. And that's it's really loaded when we talk to these or talk about these things like privacy, versus secrecy, and having opinions on these things and having your own viewpoints is a good thing. Like, never stop thinking about these things. And if anybody wants to hop on the show, I believe Mr. Miller here put the link out there for us, and or for you guys, and it's if you guys want to join in, just come on in, hop on anytime. And we understand, a lot of people they watch these videos after the fact. So just know that you can reach out to us, you can contact us, you can ask us questions. If you want to hop on here, have a voice, give your take on things. Even if you want to be anonymous as well, like, you don't have to use your face, you don't have to even type your name in there, because we don't care who you are. If you're about it, we want to hear from you. It's what you're about and how you go about it is the only identity we need from you guys. And I think identity is a big thing in this life, like who we are as people, what it is that we're a part of, these things that define us, whatever our philosophy is on it. It seems like the only people that are here to save us in this world are the people who understand it, and the ones that are raising awareness and teaching these to other people, and allowing others to learn these things themselves. And here's the thing is, we absolutely need the heroes in today's world to get us there, to the heroes to keep that voice and keep that dream alive, or else things like the United Kingdom and OFCOM and this global push for identity and biometric uploads to your identity, the things to create things and link us to those things, which is like LinkedIn. It's really in its name. So we need these heroes to keep fighting for privacy, free speech, internet freedom, things like this. It does matter. Is the thing. And when it comes to all the bullshit, it do be like that, and it do be like that indeed. So, Chris, I know we have a Hero of the Week segment that we're looking to change and add a little bit to. Can you give us a little more on that?
Yep. So we're doing the Hero of the Week every week, and something that we really want to push is we want the community to nominate people. I think it's really cool when the community gets to shine a light on some of the small people out there that are, because it's not just about these mega stars or these ones that are influencers and have millions of views, that they have a lot of effect, and that's great. But we're also really interested in the people that are just an ordinary person that just had enough and got involved and fought back and actually made a difference in their community. So if you know somebody like that, definitely let us know. We're on basically every social media profile out there except for Truth Social that banned us because I guess not fans of privacy. But other than that, hit us up and let us know. But for this week, I got a little video here I'm going to play for you.
We look for the champions leading the way, who fight for your internet rights every day. It's freedom and justice that we truly seek. We salute the hide and speak Hero of the Week.
Since 2019, Albert Foxconn has operated at the intersection of civil rights and emerging technology. As the founder of the Surveillance Technology Oversight Project, or STOP, Khan has shifted the privacy debate from abstract concerns to concrete legal boundaries. His work focuses on a single premise: that surveillance must be subject to public oversight. Albert's journey didn't start in a courtroom, but in the living room in 2019, where he founded STOP. His first major breakthrough came in 2020 with the Original Post Act. For the first time in New York City history, the police were legally required to step out of the shadows and disclose the surveillance tools they were using on the public. But Albert knew that transparency without accountability was just a starting point. When he realized the law was being sidestepped with generic reporting, he didn't give up. He spent the next 5 years fighting for the 2025 expansion, transforming a notice requirement into a powerful tool for real public oversight. Khan's strategy is simple: drag technology out of the shadows. In April 2025, he secured a major legislative victory with the passage of the Expanded Post Act. This law closed long-standing loopholes that allowed city agencies to share sensitive surveillance data with outside parties without public knowledge. It was a definitive strike against black box surveillance, ensuring New Yorkers finally know exactly who is holding their data. Turning his focus to residential privacy, Khan has spearheaded the Ban the Scan movement. In early 2026, his advocacy reached a critical milestone as he successfully pushed for the introduction of landmark legislation to ban facial recognition in residential buildings. By highlighting digital lockouts, where biased algorithms prevent residents from entering their own homes, Khan has turned the tide of public opinion. This work recently earned Stop national recognition and a $100,000 prize for its effectiveness in auditing how the public is monitored. Albert Fox Khan is our hero of the week because he treats privacy as a functional utility of democracy. By focusing on legislative precision and community impact, he is ensuring that the smart cities of the future still have room for the individual. Albert is proving that while technology moves fast, our rights can move faster. And that's why he is this week's Hide and Speak Hero of the Week.
Hide and Speak Hero of the Week.
That was a good
Absolutely,
video. Thank you
hero.
for that one, Mr. Miller.
You know, what I love about Albert is, you know, he was a lawyer, you know, and had the world, you know, he got everything he wanted, great career. And he kind of pushed that aside because he saw a calling, something that was more important, and that was fighting for privacy and fighting against the surveillance. So, you know, he kind of put this massive, amazing career on hold and took a more noble path, which I'm sure probably means, you know, a few less BMWs and vacation homes for him. But the spoils of that is for all of us, and he's doing really good work. So we really appreciate people like that. So again, if you know anybody like that you think should be a hero of the week, please let us know, and we would like to recognize those people. So
Hero.
also, yeah. So, okay. So we had a question for you this week. Who do you think knows you better, your closest friend or your smartphone? Kind of a thought-provoking question. So why don't we start with you, Shane?
Geez. I want to say I would say my friends know me better. Like when we think about, the other executives at the company, people that you have history with, like your cell phone's going to know all the things about you and stuff. They're going to see when you get mad. They're going to see these things. They're going to see, what you type on your phone, what you're looking at, whatever the privacy violations with it are. But that's the thing is, a cell phone doesn't know what you're prepared to do in a situation. A cell phone doesn't know entirely the situations, and a cell phone doesn't believe in you, right? And that's the thing is like, how can you really truly know somebody if you don't believe in them or what they stand for or what they're about? And your cell phone and anybody on the other side of that cell phone that's looking in that you didn't invite to look in, I promise you this, they don't give two shits about you. So that's the thing is how do you really know somebody? And then if you really do know somebody, you have to care about them, right? Or else you don't know shit about them. And that's my take on that. And I think that's more personal. But when it comes to like who knows you better as far as friends and your cell phone, it's really it can be 50-50, right? In today's age, especially in the other countries and stuff where their cell phone is like absolutely, telling, all of their business to everybody. And when it comes to things like predictive analysis, I'm sure like we've seen the movie Don't Look Up, where they have some AI app or whatever, some cell phone guy. It's a funny movie, and like it predicts how people are going to die, and it predicts everything about them as far as like why they're scared at night and why they're scared about this. And cool, if it can do that stuff, it doesn't really know these things. It can tell you these things, but it doesn't know them because the AI systems, they don't have a soul, so it's really just people on the other end of it, right? So cool. If it can predict these things, it's never going to share those experiences with you like a friend would. So I think that's the most noble thing I can say about that. But I'd like to hear what everybody else has to say.
I'll jump in real quick. I would say it's not even close. I would say my closest friend in my family knows me better than my phone. I was brought up by a New York City detective from back in the day, so
He definitely knows you.
what I know to say around phones and not to say around phones and around my people is two different things, kind of. So I would definitely say my people, and I agree with the prior statements. A phone cannot believe in you where people can. So even if it did know you better, who would care if it doesn't believe in you?
Well, and that's the difference, true, right? Like, it's not just somebody who knows you, it's somebody who knows the difference between what you're interested in and what you're all about, right? Like, how are you going to react? Who are you as a person in a certain circumstance? And are you telling me that a computer, even some type of data algorithm, can tell me who I am versus my best friend? No, obviously not. My best friend knows who I am. They might not know everything about me in my personal and private life, but they know who I am while I'm out in public and with other people. And I think that's a big distinction here, is that's not just about who you are as a person in your private life, it's about who you are as a person in your public life and who everybody else knows you as, because that's the real significance here, right? Like, it's I'm not just the person I am privately, and I'm not just the person I am publicly. So I think that's what I have to say on it.
And that's a good take to have, and I appreciate you giving us that. And here's the thing: is like the type of friend I am when it comes to knowing my friends and even loved ones and things like this. Here's the truth: is I don't know shit, and quote unquote I don't know shit, and I think that's a big thing. Susie, what's your take on this? Did you get your microphone working, or are you still having technical difficulties there? Okay.
Yeah, there's just some problems. I'll jump in real quick.
Yeah. What's your take on this, Chris?
So, like, there's a simple experiment we can do that kind of shows you one of the major differences. So I'm going to say the same sentence two ways, and tell me if you can tell the difference. Oh yeah, I love surveillance cameras. Or, oh yeah, I love surveillance cameras. Now, those are the exact same words, but they have completely different meaning because you're humans and you can hear the tone of my voice, you can see my body language, you can understand the difference. But if those are just in a text file on your phone, they're the same thing. They mean the same thing. So the AI or whatever it is that's scanning your phone, they're just going to look at that and they're going to pick one way, either one. And there's no way for them to tell that context. So by having real world connections with people and speaking to them in person or even across a video chat where you can see them and you can hear their voice and the tone of their voice, there's so much more information that we're gaining that is not just the content itself. Like, the content is just one piece of what you're getting out of this conversation, but you're understanding what that content means based on like the tone of my voice, the way I'm moving around and things like that. And phones don't get to pick up on any of that. And just other things like, how many times has a friend just looked at you and you immediately knew what they were thinking just because of the look on their face, and you just immediately, because you have that connection with them, you know what I mean? And that's something that's a human thing, and phones are never going to get that from you. So, I think it's something that we mentioned many times before on this show, is that humans are more than a collection of data points, and this is like a perfect example of that. Like, your phone may, even if it had all of the data points, even if it has all of the information about you, it could never possibly understand that information the way another human could.
It's never going to understand the inside joke that me and my friends have from high school, right? When there was no phones around. It's,
Right.
It's just never going to understand all of that type of information. So to me, it's my best friend is the answer to the question, right?
And for the people whose smartphone is your best friend, I'm sorry if this question triggers you.
Right. There's a different solution now. Now you got to focus on making that not the case anymore. Yeah, the human touch. Sometimes we forget. I mean, I never forget, but being in front of the computer screen all day can do that to you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ooh.
Who's got the 120 WPM?
That's probably Susie typing. Her thing picks up all the keys. I think.
I have a clickety clacker. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
You're good, Susie.
I was hacking,
What's your answer to the question there? Let me pull the question up. Who do you think knows you better, Susie? Your closest friend or your smartphone?
Oh, definitely your phone, because you know, your friendships, you show everything that you want to show, you know, privacy versus secrecy. Um, you show your friends what you want them to know. You may not necessarily want them seeing everything that you do. You don't want them seeing where you log into your bank. And, you know, your phone knows that you logged in your bank. Your phone knows how much money you got. Your phone knows how much you make. And your phone knows how to sell you to someone who wants to make that money that you got.
Those are
Yeah,
good points.
those are good points, and you know, we don't share everything with our friends, right? And some things are just, you know, you don't want to share these things because it's irrelevant, you know, and but your phone, it knows all those things, whether they're relevant or irrelevant or not. It's all in some log file somewhere. And then, you know, with the
most correct answer.
advertising companies are just selling it to other people.
I mean, Susie had the most logical answer there. I think, you know, truly your phone does know more than you about your best friend, right? But that's the real question that we're asking here is it, are you a data point? Are you the amount of money in your bank account? Are you what you watch on Netflix? Or are you how you talk to your friends? Are you how you order a sandwich at the local deli while your phone is in your pocket? Right? Like, that's the real question here is what is a human being? And what is a human being between other human beings versus an AI, and what they try to pinpoint us as? And I guess that's my answer to the question.
Isn't it beautiful that even the question matters, the perspective matters with the question. So the answer changes depending on the perspective.
Exactly.
So, very showing the depth of the human mind. That's excellent.
And Google just got sued and only had to pay out some like nickel change, you know, $67 million, because all the Google phones were spying on people. You know, it was listening in, and so that your cell phone knows, you know, it knows you. Well, at least it knows you at that moment, right? You can go throw your cell phone off a cliff, and then your cell phone doesn't know you anymore. It's not going to know you. So that you know, you can stop that, but that's the thing is you're not going to throw your friend off a cliff, or at least I hope you wouldn't. So you can stop them. You can stop your cell phone from knowing you. You're not going to stop your friends from knowing, not your true friends. They're always going to be there for you, right? Your cell phone is just a tool to connect you to the rest of the world. We had a question. It was on Telegram. I just want to answer this real quick. Another question I want to ask: in the future, is there any way to plan an update in sign up login system? Instead of it using your email address and password, would be a less privacy focused. Better alternative would be for the system generating a sign up account for you to support action would be integrated inside the application. Yes, there's many solutions that are there. It's already developed and already, you know, ready for rollout that we have for being able to sign up for vp.net. You know, just to get the product rolling, you know, we had to add, you know, an email, you know, use a disposable email. It's just really more to, you know, the newcomers and the new folks that are entering into privacy. You know, they don't know these, you know, the ability to have an encrypted key and to save that encrypted key, and then let alone move these encrypted keys across, you know, all these devices. And so to you know, get the other ideas out there, you know, it would take like fingerprinting. It would take having these systems to read the identity of somebody so that they can log into their VP account. And how do you really know somebody is who they say they are and keep the bad stuff out? You know, it was really hard topic to address at the beginning of it, but we absolutely, and we actually have this ability under the hood as well. You know, for home routers to link, and it uses, you know, your identity is just your public key that you know, with WireGuard, and ways to sign up with your wallet. You know, these are things that are being discussed at, like, you know, higher levels than you know, I'm a part of. I'm involved with the day-to-day operations. My job is to keep things functional, and my job is to ensure the rollout of things happen, you know, is with as least friction as possible. So yeah, no, we do understand fully that you know, having emails and, you know, people that actually live that life of no fingerprints, no cell phones, at least, no mainstream cell phones that are running software that they're not aware of, what's actually happening under the hood. So we get it. We understand that, there's actual anonymity out there. So if you're listening right now or watching this in the future, just know that even if you're anonymous and you're not able here to talk to us, just know that you're heard. Trust me, you're definitely heard, in the sense that we know you're there, we know you exist, and we've just know that you're thought of, and you have been thought of for a long time now. But that these solutions are things that why we've invited Christopher here onto the show with us, for is that, as with the engineering minds, this is all we think about all day, is how to make these systems secure, and a login system that defeats the traditional email cell phone ideology is something that is it's there, but it's one thing that we need to work extra hard on to have this adopted everywhere. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, just like how you walk around with your car keys and a key fob, you should have like an encrypted identity to some extent, where you can authenticate with things, and these things exist with, like, as Christopher's working with this, the zero knowledge proofs. Like, how can I prove to you that I'm in my 30s without giving you my ID, right? It's and how do I prove that I can give you my age and my birth date without giving you my name and address and everything else about me? So I really, like, where I'm going at with this is, yes, we do have these things. They will be offered. We do have the capability and the know-how to address things as they come up, as far as like logging and authenticating with the verified privacy network. And that's something that we really want to do right. And when it comes down to these things, it really is just about working with these projects and working with these ideologies and these platforms and these up and coming things that exist, and will be existing, especially now that people can vibe code and try out new things. Is we want to make sure that we do that right. This is, our owners are what, from Bitcoin.com, private internet access. These are not just, Roger Ver, it's, these are the people that are behind our company. And, this is something that, they're in those board meetings about, they're in these, big discussions about, at a level that they can discuss, higher than we can discuss here on the stream even. So it's definitely something that we want to do right. And it does come down to all these things. What is an identity? What is it that you're willing to know about somebody, as far as know your customer? Even Google themselves, they released the zero knowledge proofs, open sourced it even, just because, they have some really great and talented engineers over there at Google. But when you look at Google, what is it? It's an advertisement company. Their board meetings, they want to know everything about people. But you can authenticate and you can verify cryptographically data, without giving up the rest of the information. Like, if I came to you right now and I didn't tell you my name was Shane, you'd be like, who is this guy? It's like some white guy with glasses, wearing a black shirt, all these things about you and stuff, but they don't know who I am. And if I told you my name is Shane, that doesn't really change anything. You don't really still know me, right? So you don't know things and you don't know somebody, unless you have, unless you know somebody, right? And that's, I think, is the most important thing about zero knowledge proofs and zero trust architecture. But yes, identifying and allowing authentication in secure ways is definitely, it's a big thing that we have under the hood, and definitely a thing that we're going to be rolling out in the near future. Chris, what do you think about these streams? We've only been doing this for a couple weeks now. It's just something that we started kind of willy-nilly, and just because we wanted to have fun with this. And I think we all deserve to have the fun with this, with privacy and these discussions. And these are the things that aren't spoken about, and they're not spoken about regularly, and they're not spoken about from people who are too passionate about it. We live this life, like, we're about that life, right? We've been in I think meetings discussing things at worldly levels that that like a year later down the road and stuff, then you start seeing like other companies and high level people in industry start talking about the same things that we're talking about. So we know we're at the front lines of it. We know we're at the cusp of bringing change, and we're here with the people that are bringing change. So what are your thoughts on our streams up until now? And can you kind of guide me into what our upcoming streams will be about, Mr. Miller?
Absolutely. To be honest, like I was very, very nervous before we started streaming. I'd never done anything like this. I don't think any of us have. Had kind of no idea what we were doing and thought it was going to be, a super awkward mess, and that, no one would watch and we wouldn't know what we were doing, and that it would fall apart, and probably we would have one stream forever and that would be it. But like you said, we're about this life, and that's what I realized. Like, we're just here to talk about privacy, and when the camera's off, we're just here talking about privacy. So like, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference if the camera's running or not. So I think it's gone really well. I have a lot of fun with it. I've get to meet some really awesome people that are like-minded individuals, and we have a lot of really exciting stuff coming up. We're starting something new actually on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're doing what's called Hide and Speak Social Hour, which is going to be an unscripted, unedited, just a kind of a hangout. Instead of, sort of like this stream, the second half of this stream, where we didn't have any pre-planned topics or anything, we just get together and talk about privacy, and that's sort of the idea. And we're really going to push to have more community members join the stream. We can have up to 10 people streaming at the same time. So we want to have as many people as possible join, because we really want to hear what other people think, and not just, privacy experts and privacy activists. Like, we want to hear, what bakers think, and accountants, and, basketball players. We want to know what everybody thinks, because privacy affects every single one of us. And that's, a big part of this is getting people to understand that we may all be interested in different things. We might all like different music and different TV shows, but at the end of the day, this is something we can really all agree on. Like, nobody wants that. I mean, nobody wants to be watched all the time. And I actually have a really interesting example to highlight that. The telephones came out in like the 1800s, but they really didn't pick up until the 1920s. That's like early 1920s is when every household started to have a phone. That's when it became like embedded in our culture. And then in around 1921, this product came out on the market called the Hutch phone, which is a system where you could go and you could put your face up into that hole and you could talk into it. And now the other people in the room can't hear what you're saying. Now, why did that exist? Because people have always cared about privacy. Like, no, we're not alone in this. We're not, the minority. Immediately, as soon as the phone came out, people were like, okay, this is cool, but how do I do that privately? I don't want everybody else knowing my business, because that's human nature. We all want privacy. We always have. And it's just, they've convinced us with tons of propaganda over the years that only the criminals want privacy, but it's not true. We've always wanted privacy, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's our right as human beings to decide which parts of us we share with people. So I just wanted you guys to know that you're not alone. We all care about privacy. We all always have, and don't believe the hype. It's not for criminals. It's for everyday people, just like you and me. So also something really exciting coming up is next Saturday is Valentine's Day. So we're not going to be streaming, because we're hoping you all have something more exciting and more fun to do than talk to us. So instead, we're going to have a special stream on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time that I'm really excited about. We're doing a stream, the first one about internet censorship, because so far we've only been talking about privacy, but that's the hide and speak. But the speak part is we're also very interested in giving you a voice, and that's free speech. So we're going to have a nice 1 hour long conversation about internet censorship, featuring Jemima Steinfeld, who's actually the CEO of Index on Censorship, which is one of the longest running organizations fighting against censorship. They were fighting against censorship in the 60s. So long before the internet even existed, they were out there trying to make sure people could have a voice and people could get access to information. And, since the internet became a big thing, that's obviously become a major part of their focus. So we're really excited to talk to them. That's next Friday at 11 a.m. And then the following Saturday, not next Saturday, the one after, we're having a special episode about fighting flock. And we have John from Bend, Oregon, which is our first hero of the week. We got a flock kicked out of Bend. He's going to be joining us, and also somebody from Deflock Atlanta, which is an activist organization that's trying to get flock kicked out of Atlanta. So definitely stay tuned for those. It's going to be really exciting. And if you guys know anybody that you'd like to see on our live stream, absolutely, we're open to recommendations. So just let us know.
Please join us.
Yeah, no, please do join us, and then join the community. Christopher, it's been absolutely wonderful having you here today. Could you guys imagine somebody walk around with that phone that Mr. Miller just showed us? Like, what the hell are you eating, a corn on the cob? I'm already seeing people walk around with the earpieces in, and they're talking to themselves, and it throws me off still. And I understand what these things are, and I think they're talking to me, but they're talking to somebody else, and they don't care who else hears.
So it's so awkward.
I'm
sorry. Would you say you talking to me? Oh, no, not me. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of cyberpunky and stuff, like having an actual mouth guard attached to your thing, like Darth Vader walking around but on the inside, they're hearing like, oh yeah, no, the weather today was sunny. That'd be cool, but not really.
A full privacy helmet that covers your whole head and the phone and everything.
Realistically, Chris, it's going to come down to my hamster ball idea. I do think that the only way, to fight with this, is going to be stick with block cameras everywhere, is holding around with hamster balls. That's our only fight. But these are my opinions. These are my takes on things. But if anybody else knows any other opinion and any other solution other than my hamster ball, I would. When it comes to and all the things that we talk about, it can be like that. And I just want to say thanks again. I hope you guys are all looking forward to our future streams. And Christopher, we'll just close it out with you. Is there any shout outs or any projects you want to mention, or anything that what's to look out for your projects there?
Well, I just appreciate you guys having me on. I just want to say that first and foremost. Secondly, thank you for whoever helped me, because I had a slight issue signing up for vp.net, and that was taken care of immediately. So when I was trying to renew, that was amazing customer service you guys had dealing with this issue with the ticket. So I wanted to definitely point that out to you. So shout out to anybody who's listening that I turned on, that I let them know that I was going to be on the podcast. I had a blast here. I appreciate you guys letting me talk about my projects. If anybody wants to go check them out at ShadowRanch XYZ, Sub Rosa, sub-rosa.xyz, and I also have a ticketing platform, Vamano, VAMANO.xyz. It's also privacy focused. It's a ticketing platform for event creators. So really appreciate it, and look forward to everything else you guys are doing.
Well, thank you indeed.
Oh, you don't see the sign. I tried.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as far as working with VP and the zero trust architecture, reach out to us after the stream here, and that's definitely, it's something that we've envisioned for the last 20 years. But definitely something that we're pushing into now, and it would be amazing to work with projects like yours. But at least offer any project out there, a secure layer between them and their customers and the rest of the world, the rest of the internet, even, right? Because we do see these things like Tor can't be trusted. There's just so much out there, and so much bad out there, that when it does affect things in a negative way, millions of people are dependent on these things to work, and for these things to work without issues, and for their data to get from point A to point B. And that's the thing, is we're the only one in the space that provides this zero trust VPN, and it's coming from the original gangsters behind the privacy scene, right. The VPN scene, and the Bitcoin.com, and this is something that we live and breathe. So we're absolutely. Just reach out to us, and we'll move forward from there. And that goes for really anybody, and I hope people reach out to you, and definitely check out your projects there. This is the cypherpunk movement. And with that said, we want to say thank you to everybody listening and watching in the future. And also, there's only one thing left to say, and that's onward.
We build a safe place where the speech is always free, where cypherpunks go to just hide and speak. Hide and speak. We stay in the shadows and make some noise. Hide and speak. Digital freedom, yeah, that is our choice. Hide and speak. Privacy doesn't mean not having a voice.
The early internet was the wild, wild west. Strange. Free. We explored, we broke things. And yes, we failed. No rules. And that was beautiful. But times have changed. We hesitate. We censor ourselves because we know they're watching. Surveillance kills curiosity, turning the internet from a frontier of hope into a cage of silence. And your VPN? It's based on trust. For let's be real, nobody has ever lied to me, said nobody ever. Yet true privacy is still within reach. vp.net doesn't rely on trust, it runs on real-time proof. Because privacy is about becoming your truest self when no one's watching. So you can be the best you when they are. Otherwise be an NPC, a digital product, and lose. vp.net, don't trust, verify.